decided to do lunch. I'm going to actually do a recipe from my 21 Days of Sweet Kale Salad Mix recipe. It's one of the easiest things. It's kind of a throwback to the Cabbage Soup Diet from years gone by.
So while I'm waiting on one of my techniques, I want to show you all of the ingredients. So the ingredients are a part of a can of San Marzano Italian plum tomatoes. This is probably where I spend a little bit more on tomatoes because I like Italian tomatoes. They are plum tomatoes. If they're a little bit not on sale when I go to the grocery store, then I will use Muir's fire roasted tomatoes, and those are primarily the two that I use. The quality is just there, and I really like the fire roasted as well if for some reason I don't have the Italian ones available. My microwave's going off, just bear with me for just a little bit because that's another technique. So instead of buying crushed, diced, chopped, I usually buy whole, and this is a technique that I learned of just going in and either cutting them with some scissors, or you can just get in with your hand and cut them. They're just better that way. You get a lot of juice that you don't need, and you don't get that nice thick puree at the bottom. So that's my technique for that. We're going to use a can of red kidney beans. You can use any beans you want. I just had red kidneys and I rinsed them. I don't like to have the aquafaba from the beans in my soup. I like my broth to be as beautiful and as clear as possible. The original recipe calls for a can of Rotel chilies or Hatch chilies. I just have frozen ones, so we're going to use that. We have our Super 7 Sweet Kale Salad Mix, so we're going to get all our vegetables with that. And let me go grab out of the microwave what we're going to use for flavoring. So this is probably one of the quickest techniques. This is one of the quickest techniques I have for, you want to add some flavor and you want onions, but you don't want to sit here and saute. You can certainly do that. But the nice thing about when you microwave them in the oven, in the microwave, you can get some oil flavor in the onion. Get some, some onion flavor in the oil. And also you can add garlic, and you don't have to just sit there and watch it. So 3 minutes in the microwave. I may put it in for just 1 more minute to give it a little more caramelization. A lot of this technique just depends on the power level of your microwave, but you can tell in 3 minutes they're really just beautifully soft. I would almost just eat these. So this is actually in the cookbook. You can use this. This is a nice technique. I use this technique a lot. Microwaved, caramelized, softened onions and garlic for Asian dishes. So I'm going to just remind the audience I have an induction cooktop, so I can put this around my heating element and it not start a fire. I just like doing this because I can have like mise en place in front. So we've got our tomatoes. This is really going to be the dump section. We're just going to dump in our onions. You can, if you're not an onion person, you can just use onion powder. That's fine. I just like the little sweetness of real onions. We're just going to literally dump. This is dumping. We're going to dump in our beans. We're going to dump in our chilies for spice. And this is where you can start being creative with it. There may be a dog that wanders through here in just a moment. I hope not. Anyway, we're going to dump that. We are going to put in our cup of vegetable broth. So we need a little bit more just to make sure those vegetables get steamed. Perfect. And now we're just going to add in literally kind of what you want to do, handfuls of the sweet kale salad mix. This is the cruciferous. If you're worried about cancer, this is a great cruciferous dish to eat, so you can get your cruciferous dishes, your cruciferous vegetables in. So we're just going to turn it on. I'm just going to let it heat for a little bit and cover it, and then we're going to talk about spices. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. Just gonna let it steep for a little bit, because I like mine crunchy. I don't like my cruciferous vegetables because this has broccoli, green cabbage, Brussels sprouts, kale, and chicory in it, and I don't want them to get kind of that irony taste. So they're gonna sit here for a little bit. And so here's where it gets creative. You can just add some cumin. I always say your spice shop is your best friend when you're cooking plant-based, primarily plant-based. I actually have a little bit of adobo left over from a project, so I'm going to dump that in. It's not a whole lot. It's just going to give it a little bit. I already have a kick from the cumin. Pardon me, from the hatch chilies. You may not like it spicy. That's totally cool. A friend of mine gave me some Mexican oregano, which has a little bit different flavor than Greek oregano, so we're going to put that in there. And we're just going to let that come on down and blend for about 10 minutes. It really does not take long. And so from there, you can decide what you want to do. Do you want add a little meat? I'm actually going to add some beefless crumbles because this is going to be our afternoon kind of late lunch, early dinner. So I'm going to make it a little bit more robust. We're going to serve this over a grain just to add some more complexity, more whole grains, more protein, more vitamins and minerals. And that's how we're going to probably serve this for ourselves. Now we're going to talk about umami. So a lot of people like a meat taste, and we lose that sometimes with plant-based, but there's different ways that you can get that. I'm going to do a whole nother video on umami flavorings, but these are the 3 things I'm going to add today. I'm going to add porcini powder. Any kind of mushroom powder will do, but I'm going to add just a touch of that to give it some umami. Probably one of the easiest things you can do without, sometimes you don't want your dish to have whole mushrooms in it. It doesn't call for it. I don't think they would blend well in this dish. So I'm going to use some porcini powder, and then there's I hope I'm saying that right, Magi seasoning. It's another kind of fermented, along the line of soy sauce, but I think it's actually European. And then, as weird as it seems, I'm going to add a little bit of kitchen bouquet. And I've discovered, I've had this in my kitchen for a long time. Kitchen bouquet is vegan, and it adds a wonderful caramelization. Literally, all it is caramelized vegetables. But you can use it for different dishes to make it a little browner, just for the eyes, so you're not eating tomato soup. And it does have a wonderful umami. So we're going to let this cook down 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back to it and plate it and enjoy it. So our soup is done. So I have a couple of other fun techniques for you to use, and you can use this with any cuisine. So we had some bulgur in the freezer that I pre-bake and I pre-cook and then put in small packages. You can certainly use something that's frozen. But I think layers of flavors is extraordinarily important. So what I do is I take nutritional yeast, mix it up with different spice blends. This is a Southwest spice blend from the spice shop with seeds and nuts. And then I just sprinkle it in there just to give the bulgur a little flavor, because it might be kind of boring if you don't. So you don't have to add the oil, but I just like just a little bit, okay? We are not completely oil-free. So you've got bulgur with a little spice blend with some nuts and seeds, just to give it a little bit more fun, a little variety. So now we're going to plate this. Now I can do this on my cooktop because it is induction. So we're just going to plate it real quick. We will put just a little bit of the grain mixture in the bottom and serve on some soup. Again, everyone cannot do this over their cooktop if they're on a regular electric range or gas. If you want, my husband doesn't really like the broth. I'm a broth person, so I'm going to add some broth to mine. And then here's where it gets kind of interesting. You can add some, I keep a bag of all the little junky pieces from the whole grain chips that are on the market, so we don't use them. So it's kind of like having now a cabbage taco salad. You can add on some cilantro for some color, okay? It's all about many, many flavors. And then if you just need it, and sometimes I just like a little, just for the eye, to take me back to when I used to put queso fresco on a taco salad, or a taco, or a fish taco, or anything like that. So the Bio Life feta is really good to fool the eye, give you a little saltiness, and just to make your dish pretty without adding a whole lot of calories. So I hope you enjoyed today. This is just wasn't a pretty one. I just want to do this at lunchtime just to show you, just it can come together really quickly. You can make a lot of this soup. It freezes pretty well. It keeps in the refrigerator. You know, I just cook so much, I don't like to have a lot of leftovers, but sometimes, like when you're busy, you need a little leftover just to eat up. This is our dish today, cabbage soup, or actually it's sweet kale salad mix, southwestern soup with beans, bulgur, nutritional yeast blend. I did add a little bit of the Gardein for some added protein. And enjoy. Visit me on Facebook, Instagram. You'll be able to find this recipe in my ebook download. There's 20 other recipes using the sweet kale salad mix blends, but this isn't completely nutritious. Just a little bit of processed. If all the stricter vegans worry about these little chips, sometimes you just need a little texture. So thanks for joining me, and yeah, I think it turned out great.